10 laps since then. So it's the Bird, Deck, Lynx piece of the front three. Viking, Fox, Russell Bolt, Mr. Poem, Merc with a bit of a pack together as well. Quite a few penalties lingering around. Viking, Bolt, Merc, Connor. Then you've got Frenchy, Willie Fernandez, Woody, Bakey, and then Basil. And unfortunately, Hazer has had a pit, and he must have done that on lap 1 as well. So sadly for him, he seems to be out of the picture at the moment. Struggling tonight, yeah, Imola is Hazer, I have to say. But let's see if he can get himself back into a strong position at the end of the race, which he does tend to do. So we'll expect to see him be able to pick up some positions, but he'll need some safety cars, you'd expect. And as you can see, the Bird ahead, or Deg ahead of Lynx. So further back, you've got this pack here, Viking, and you've got Merc as well, batting out with Rusted Bolt, getting through on Bolt as well. So Merc now up into the top 6 on the hard tyres with Mr. Poem, both Alpines going their way. And Deck overtaking the Bird as well. He gets himself through, but the Bird's going to try and take it back here. An unlikely move here by the Bird, round the outside, but he's not quite picking him off like that. So he does hold on to the position here. But there you go, the Bird certainly getting a bit feisty with the battle, which you wouldn't expect, certainly not around at turn 12. But an unlikely move, but couldn't quite put it off. But let's see now as the Bird is waiting to go down a straight, but he's going to head down the inside of the bit of Deck, and he is trying to get the move done before they even enter out of turn 18. But he's not quite there again, but he'll get the aid of DRS here, burning a bit of battery to get through as well. Pushing Deck all the way, and all the way up into turn 2. Here comes the Bird. He makes the move down the inside and takes the race lead. Deck drops to P2. Lynx is right behind in P3. He's having a strong race as well, and he's hanging on to the pair ahead, who are fighting nose to tail here. And Deck remains in behind the Bird, who holds on to the race lead. Further back, Mr. Poem still has 4th place with Merc and 5th. Now they have Rosen above Viking Fox, who has fallen to 6th. And then he got Russell Bolt in P7 as well. And then further back, Havoc Connor, Destroyer Jack, Epic Frenchy, who has got Willie Fernandez for company. And they got Woody, Baker Gaming, Basil and Hazer. But back towards the front we go with the Bird, Deck and Lynx. Deck is in a kick Sauber sandwich. But again, I'm sure he'll try and put out that one and get back through on Deck. But Lynx P seems relatively satisfied to just stay behind his teammate as yellow flags for Basil in the V-Carb. That is just in the back end of Sector 1 heading into Sector 2. That means Hazer will close the gap towards the Visa RB now. But we'll go for another time round at turn 18, yes, and into turn 1 and 2. But you'd expect Deck to be able to take the lead on this occasion here in a slipstream. Potentially use a bit of battery, but he's not actually using battery. He's staying behind on this occasion. So he's happy to set a win. Further back, Merc overtakes Mr. Poem, and that group of cars are starting to make inroads on the front 3. As you can see, the hard tyres working pretty well and are still within 2 seconds. So can they pull themselves, along with Viking and Rusted Bolt, towards that top 3? It wouldn't surprise me if they are able to here. Further back then, Rusted Bolt in P7, just behind Viking, and further back as well, Epic Frenchy heads round the outside of Willie Fernandez, and he does make the move stick, so up into the top 10 he goes, Epic Frenchy. A good positive move for him on the exit of turn 7 there, and there you go, lands it particularly well as the McLaren tries to keep with him. We're going to go back towards Deck, who again continues to close in on the Bird. Is he going to go for the overtake on this lap low? Decided against it on the previous run, but they are being sort of closed in on by the 2 Alpines there in P4 and P5 on the hard tyres. So you may feel like this podium group need to do something different. Declo with the battery, not really burning it too much. He is now using it, and he will go for the move into turn 1, but the Bird almost tries to fight it, and he just decides to drop in behind at the last second. But that gap at 1.8 seconds now, so it's not like it's opening up at all. The hard tyres certainly seem to be working relatively well. Havoc Connor receives a 3-second penalty now, so all of those between P5 to P8 all have time penalties for the top 4, including Mr. Poem, do not have any penalties. Destroyer Jack is the only driver outside of the top 4 who does not have a single time penalty. Let's look at the penalty situation. Havoc Connor has a remarkable 15 seconds of penalties in 15 laps. He could get over a minute of penalties at the rate he is going at. He might get disqualified. Havoc Connor's got to be a bit careful. The last time we saw a disqualification for a load of penalties, I do believe, unless I'm incorrect, I think it was Glue in Qatar. So let's watch out for that if he's going to get the most penalties that we've had since Glue at Qatar a few seasons ago. And again, that was a 100% race. So let's see, that was on F123, not on F124 as well, which tells you how long ago it was. Havoc Connor, 10-second penalty, and he decides to not go for a joint record with Glue. He does not want that. Fair enough, really, but he does retire in the pit, unfortunately. So not his day in the Mercedes. As you can see, the Bird, Deck, and Lynx P still there, 1, 2, and 3. But Merck is now 1.6 seconds back, but has another penalty. And that'll be 6 seconds, I do believe, now for Merck. So the penalty count really is racking up. We might just stick with the penalty count because of how effective it has been thus far. Basil and Hazer are together as well, and they'll be heading down the straight too. And that is where you would expect Hazer to put himself up to P13 after the Havoc Connor retirement. We may just have a little look towards that, and you can see Hazer up into P13. Basil drops in behind, and Hazer now could try and pull himself forward towards some of the cars ahead. Is Honda going equal next season? Yes, I do believe so. Like the Bird, Deck, Lynx, Peace, and they will all be battling it out in that top 3. But Mr. Poem and Merck and Rusted Bolt, they have all joined the battle. So from 3, it's now up to 6. With the Bird, Deck, Lynx, Merck, Mr. Poem, and Bolt, who's just within a second there as well. Vamos, yes indeed. Right, let's see who will take advantage of this pack being increased to 6, although Rusted Bolt now has started to drop out of it, 1.1 behind. Just have a little look towards him, losing touch now of that top 5. So the 2 Alpines on the hard tyres working well because they have now caught up to the podium. I wanted to do a race for so long, but the cars are always full. I know. The Kicks Albers especially, because the Kicks Albers are always going to like the super quick drivers. I know Hazer at the moment just about gets a Haas, but that's just about. He's like on the fringes between Haas and Kicks Alber, if you know what I mean. But to be fair, Hazer's not having the best season actually in Tier 1. As there are yellow flags for Woody, who's just lost out to Baker Gaming and now drops to P12. Basil also back ahead of Hazer and up into P13, so a few moves being made. Whilst Woody Fernandez and Epic Frenchie continue their battle as well. We will drop down to that, I do believe, in a moment. But I'm going to keep an eye just on Deck at the moment. He's surely going to go for the overtake here on the Bird. It's not possible that he can't go. Surely not. He's got... Wow, he's hanging in behind. Well, that's going to give the likes of Lynx, Merck and Mr. Poem the chance they need to just keep up as well. And they certainly will be keeping up. That 5 driver pack. And Rusted Bolt, 1.2 behind. It's not like he's far adrift here. Viking Fox, another 3 seconds, 6 in total now. He joins Rusted Bolt and Merck on that tally. Destroyer Jack could be getting a good couple of positions here from Bolt and Viking with their penalty count. We'll just drop back towards Basil, and here comes Hazer. Hazer will also be getting DRS, and he goes round the outside of Basil, and it's unlikely that he gets the move done, but he does get it done at turn 17, and up into P13 he goes. A little bit of a wobble on the exit of turn 18, but it gets himself going, but Basil will try and fight it back here. Sadly for him, it's Hazer who has the DRS, and Woody is into the pit lane. There you go, Hazer just stays ahead. Hazer should be Ferrari, ouch. Well, I mean, it's quite intriguing to know that he won the championship last season as well in Tier 1. I mean, people would not have any idea on that if they just came into the league this season. I don't think their first thought would have been that Hazer would be the reigning champion, and I think he won 100% tier last season as well. Like, it just feels like that long ago, but it really wasn't that long ago. if you really think about it. But yeah, Hazer not had the greatest of seasons, has he, unfortunately, by his own standards. We'll see if he can be back to his best next season. Mr. P level fall off. Ouch. Wow. Wow. I mean, to be fair though, when you say that, Mr. P was an unlikely contender, I do believe, on that season. I think he was the real underdog, sorry, to win it. You were the heavy favourite. And you kind of did a bit of a Spursy, really. But luckily for you, you did win it a couple of seasons later. So, in the end, it all sort of equals out. But yeah, I think Mr. P done very well to win that title that season. Obviously, you done very well to beat off Hazer when you won it. And Hazer done extremely well the following season to beat you. So yeah, I'm actually confused how I let him have it. I think Mexico done it, didn't it? He had a really good Mexican Grand Prix on the finale. With the, I think it was mixed conditions back then as well, with the weather, as our deck will now overtake the bird and take the race lead. Link's Peace barely a second behind as well, and the kicks out of the bird, taking a bit more of a narrow line, which could give Lynx a chance to close the gap, but he's not really, and the bird is almost pushing it. Is he going to go for a move? Epic Frenchie, 10-second penalty. The pit stop starting to occur further back now. But there you go, Deck and the bird still continue to battle as the bird has a look down the inside, but doesn't quite execute his plan at turn 7. Shouldn't have came to it. I don't really remember that season apart from Mexico. Yeah, to be fair, I don't either, actually. I just know Mexico was quite chaotic on the finale. Right, Basil, 3 seconds. That's 9 in total. Again, a lot of penalties flying around here. Decla Bird, Lynx Merc, and Mr. Poem still there. The Bird with a 3-second penalty. Basil retires as well from the Grand Prix on his first 100% tier race. But the Bird has got himself a time penalty. Hazer with 3 seconds. That's 9 in total for Hazer. The Bird is doing an undercut. An undercut is on now for the Bird. But yeah, Hazer, 9 seconds of penalties. That is very interesting. But now, what tyre? As the Visa RB there. Interesting, not moving, obviously, having just got that retirement. But now his car has disappeared. And onto the hard tyres go the Bird, who is in P7, may just drop to P8 behind that Ferrari. I think he will. Don't forget, long pit lane here. So yeah, the Bird drops behind Baker Gaming and is in P8 as he exits out of the pits. And you would expect him to be the race leader. Deck now has got an advantage, 1.8 seconds ahead of Lynx. So Lynx not keeping up with Deck, and the likes of Merc and Mr. Poem will certainly be biting on Lynx there to try and get themselves clear off the kicks over here. And look at Merc, he looks like he's got so much more traction than Lynx Peace and Mr. Poem as well. This could be a double overtake from the two Alpines here. And Merc will be the opening chief, trying to get the overtake done, and Mr. Poem will certainly follow him through. Lynx Peace may very well pit here. It wouldn't surprise me if he does, and indeed he does. So Merc and Mr. Poem then will be going and charging for Deck here, and trying to chase down your race leader. However, the Bird may very well be the new net race leader. But he is now behind Baker Gaming. Let's just have a little look towards them. He does actually get his way through. Baker Gaming losing out there, the Bird. Obviously, with the 20-lap tyre advantage, does make his way through and up into the top 6 as Lynx Peace also into the pits. Hazer with another 3 seconds. I mean, what? Hazer? Hazer's got 12 seconds of penalties in 22 laps. That is incredibly impressive. Probably in a really bad way for Hazer, unfortunately. But 12 seconds, that is painful. 10 seconds, that's a retirement right there. Yes, that is a retirement. 12 seconds of penalties before he retired. After 22 laps, that is quite remarkable. Let's go up the field towards Mr. Poem. I may even drop back towards Viking Fox, and I may actually do that because I doubt the two Alpines are going to fight each other too much. Hazer leaves the session, of course. Let's see then what Viking Fox can do here behind Rusted Bolt. Just hanging out behind him. But yeah, the yellow flag's disappearing. Hazer's car being removed, of course. And now Mr. Poem overtakes Merc. Their charge towards Deck continues. Deck stays out though for another lap, so still deciding that those medium tyres are the best to be on. But sadly for him, he will be undercut by the Bird. And how big will that undercut be as the Bird sets a new fast lap of 1:17.6? If we were to compare that fast lap to Deck, it is 1 second quicker. And as their fastest lap alone, that means that Deck is most likely losing 1.5, potentially up to 2 seconds a lap to Deck as the Bird rather, as Mr. Poem receives a 3-second time penalty. Got further back as well, Viking Fox with Rust, Bolt and Nago. We were just seeing Lynx and Baker Game, and Lynx getting through onto the top 7. But he's almost 4 seconds back from his teammate, considering they were pretty much in DRS range for the majority of the race so far. Lynx Piece is a big margin away from his teammate now, and that will be no chance of beating him unless something incredible happens. Really, that's what he's got to hope for here. So we're just back on here with Rusty, but may go up towards Merc, but again, you wouldn't expect those Alpines to be battling each other too much, but we will go towards them. Just was there around each other here. Epic Frenchy 3 seconds as well. Should we get the penalty count back on? I think we need to, really. There you go, the penalty. 16 seconds for Epic Frenchy, and Willie Fernandez losing out to the Bird as well. It's the Bird up into the top 5. We'll get the pit stop strategy up. There you go. One stop for a host of drivers. The Bird, of course, a net race leader now. And Woody Fernandez just behind it. But yeah, looking good for the Bird if he wants to go on to win this race. Although he does have a 30-second penalty, he may very well be able to outbalance that, should I say. Or debalance, would that be the right word? I'm not too sure. But either way, the Bird looking good for a potential race win. We'll just drop back towards Viking Fox now, as he will go for the move on Baker Gaming, and he will have an inside line here. And entering the fray will be Rusted Bolt. So Bolt may get the Ferrari, and he does. The Ferrari deciding not to battle it. And Rusted Bolt now pulls himself up into P9. Next up will be Viking Fox. And that will be gets oh, Deck 10-second penalty. 10-second time penalty for the Haas of Deck, and that is going to be a massive penalty come the end of this race. Whether or not a safety car will help him, we shall see, but that is not good news for the Haas, and he is in a lot of trouble now. If he wants to try and beat the Bird, he needs a miracle. He needs an absolute miracle, and he will come out firmly behind the Bird as well, quite far back, and he will come out with Lynx Piece, so that's not ideal for Deck. As Rusted Bolt on the outside of Viking Fox may go for some form of double switchback, destroy Jack, 3-second penalty, and Rusted Bolt in the end not quite getting through on Viking. Viking Fox into the top 8. We'll just go back down, have a look towards Woody, who is chasing down Epic Frenchy here, down into turn 2. Unfortunately not able to get the move done, so Woody just stays in P11. Baker Gaming finally gets his pit stop done on the mediums and is in P12. Back up to the race lead as we go, and it is an Alpine 1 and 2 now. Merc from Mr. Poem. Both drivers still to pit, both drivers opting for the hard compound tyre. So again, we'll figure out when they decide to pit. You imagine it'll be well beyond lap 30, maybe 35, 36, 37-ish. Or closer to lap 40 at the rate they could go at. So a lot of time to spend on these hard tyres for these two. Hence why they are going to be trying to use each other's DRS and slipstream, and DRS of course, to help each other with their lap times. But yeah, they're certainly going to try and push on and push forward to the cars who have already pitted, such as the Bird of course. How do I join? We can send you a link. Hopefully I don't miss too much, but I will just send a link into chat. Let me just get it forward. Copy link. And there you go. That is a link if you would like to join. UFRL. We race 5 times a week. Monday, Tier 1. Tuesday is Tier 2. Wednesday is Tier 3. Tonight, of course, Friday night's 100% Tier. Saturday is the International Tier, which is for pretty much any driver. We do a trial system, so you have to pass a trial to ensure you're clean, of course. We don't really want dirty drivers, obviously, for obvious reasons. But yeah, there you go. Right, Mr. Poem and Merck are there, but we're going to drop back here towards Deck, who overtakes Willie Fernandez. Interestingly, does it into the chicane. Deck will not be getting DRS, however, and it will be Willie Fernandez, Lynx, and Rustabolt, and Viking Fox as well. The two Alpines trading places again. Merck overtaking Mr. Poem into P1. But Deck deciding to go for an early move. Lynx Piece gets through on Willie Fernandez and will have DRS on the Haas here of Deck, but he's going to be too far back. Won't get the move done. And then you've got Willie Fernandez, Rustabolt, and here is Viking Fox as well. Does Viking have a look on Rustabolt? Not quite. Woody overtakes Epic Frenchie because Frenchie is round in the Ferrari. Very much around as well onto the grass, and he will allow for his teammate Baker Gaming to go through before rejoining the track. It's an excellent rejoin there by Epic Frenchie as we go back towards Rustabolt and Woody Fernandez. Or should we say up the field further? I think we should say up the field. Woody Fernandez then. Yet to stop in the race, of course, on the medium tyres. A long time on those mediums. When is he going to box? Surely for hards. Because he's getting close to the halfway stage on those mediums now. And yeah, into the pits goes Epic Frenchie. Hopefully he'll continue with the race. He may retire, but either way, he is going to go for that stop. And now, who can challenge with the bird for the win? I mean, it's going to be tricky for anyone, especially when you consider the two Alpines yet to pit. Obviously, they're going to be going on to mediums, but they're going to be a long way back from the bird. And even though the bird has that 3-second penalty, Lynx doesn't have a penalty. He's the only one without a penalty. But Lynx Piece is not close enough to challenge his teammate for the victory here, as Viking Fox will now get through on Woody Fernandez and rise up into the top 7. Woody Fernandez going out for another lap on those medium tyres. There you go, as you can see. Unable to challenge for the move there. Can't defend it, so therefore an easy move for Viking, who is behind Rustabolt. Sadly for these two, Rustabolt and Viking Fox, they are over 1 second behind Lynx Piece, almost 2 seconds in fact. And Lynx Piece now losing touch on Deck, 1.2 seconds. So Deck does look pretty quick. But that 10-second penalty for speeding into the pits is going to cost him in this Grand Prix. Let's head back up the field towards the two Alpines. Rustabolt 3 seconds. Again, we're going to get a penalty situation on, and that's 12 seconds of penalties now for Rustabolt. I mean, the penalty count is quite insane. I can't lie. 10 seconds Deck, 12 for Rustabolt. We saw Havoc Connor got 22 seconds. Hazer had 12 seconds by the time of their retirements. So yeah, a lot of penalties flying around, as you'd sort of expect at Imola. But to only have one driver, Lynx Piece, without a penalty after 29 laps out of 63. Wow. If Lynx can avoid a penalty in this race, then fair play to him. And who knows, if there's a late safety car, as Woody also receives a 3 seconds, 9 in total now for him. But yeah, if there's a late safety car, Lynx Piece could genuinely be on for a potential race win here. So we'll wait and see on that one. Viking Fox did get through on Rustabolt, now up into the top 6, but we're just on with the two Alpines for now. Mr. Poem and Merck continuing to work together. Merck, unfortunately, has the 9 seconds of penalties. Mr. Poem has 3 seconds. Level with the bird. And also Destroyer Jack. Destroyer Jack was one of those earlier who didn't have a penalty, as was Mr. Poem. But since then, they have both picked up their penalties, as did the bird, of course. And Deck, who picked up the 10 seconds. But he can get that removed if he pits again. So that'll be an interesting strategy for Deck. Does he do that later in the race? Maybe if there's a safety car, he'll have no choice. Yeah, Merc and Mr. Poe continuing to work together. We'll just drop back towards Ruster Bolt. Is he close enough to go for the overtake on Viking Fox? He is burning battery to make sure he stays there. Baker Gaming, that's 12 seconds of penalties in total now for him. But even then, he has not got the highest on his own. It's level with Ruster Bolt now at 12 seconds. So, yeah, I mean, again, the penalty situation is very difficult for the drivers. The circuit being... It is a narrow circuit. It's quite a fast circuit as well. Yellow flags for, I do believe that is going to be Epic Frenchie. Sadly going a lap down, but does abide to the blue flags, which is very fair play from Frenchie. Another 3 seconds for Merck. That's 12 seconds for him. So he's now joint level with Ruster Bolt and Baker Gaming on the penalty count. And Willie Fernandez is off track and into the grass. And that means that Destroyer Jack is going to potentially overtake him here. And indeed he does, and Jack up into the top 8. Ahead of Willie Fernandez, who goes off once again. He has got front wing damage, and that's why Willie Fernandez seems to be struggling right now. That left side end plate is clearly off on the McLaren, so he may very well be entering the pits on his lap. And another 3 seconds. Woody also has 12 seconds in total. It's not a race to get the most penalties, as much as it may seem to be at this moment in time. I mean, 4 drivers with 12 seconds is impressive. But anyways, Merck and Mr. Poem continue to be at the front. Epic Frenchie retires into the pits then. We're down to 11 drivers, almost halfway through the Grand Prix here at Imola. And again, the Alpines both working together. Woody through on Woody Fernandez, who has now entered the pits, and he will drop behind Baker Gaming as well. I don't think Woody Fernandez will drop behind the 2 Alpines, but he won't be too far away, you know. So they're just exiting out of the chicane at turn 15. Woody Fernandez still yet to get the car moving. Now he's got it moving. So yeah, he will come out quite a little bit ahead of the Alpine, but he will certainly be on the same straight as the McLaren, entering out of that pit lane. Now he's getting out of it. So yeah, it's pretty close. Let's see Woody Fernandez here. He's just moving there. You didn't quite get a glimpse of the Alpines, but they're certainly on the same tarmac here as the McLaren. As again, Mr. Poem goes ahead of Merck and using that DRS effectively together. So the gap to the bird at the moment, 11 seconds to the leaders. And he does continue to close that gap. As you'd expect, he has a lot more grip than the drivers ahead of him, given he's on fresher tyres. But yeah, the tyre situation there as well. 31 laps for Mr. Poem and Merck, of course. And a 3-second penalty for Woody Fernandez. Once again, it still feels weird not being on the penalty count, because there are so many penalties hanging around. It will clearly play a role at the end of the Grand Prix. Let's go back then to the penalties. Woody Fernandez also on 12 seconds. I think everybody just wants to be on 12 seconds of penalties by the end of the race. You've got Merck, Bolt, Woody, Bakey and William all on 12 seconds of penalties. 5 drivers out of the remaining 11 with 12 seconds. Don't forget Hazer had 12 seconds of penalties when he retired as well. So that would have been 6 drivers. So yeah, wow. Let's see then what will go here as Merck will overtake Mr. Poem and take the lead again. They're doing well working together, but sadly for them, the gap to the bird is very quickly dropping down. Deck is 2.5 behind. What's the tyres? 4 laps fresher tyres. I mean, he's going to be ruining that error of the 10 seconds, I've got to say, speeding into the pits. Given that right now, he seems to be very much keeping up with the bird in terms of pace. Yeah, come the end of this race, he is not going to be in a great position to win, sadly for him. But he does look quick, that's fair to say, when we speak about Declan. Right, dropping down towards Ruster Bolt. He's been hanging around Viking Fox for a little bit of time now. 2 seconds back from Lynx Piece again. It's the only driver without a single time penalty at this stage of the Grand Prix. Now just heading through the quick little slow. Well, you say quick, it's not a quick one, but it feels like you slingshot yourself right into the right hander there. down at turn 12, and now we head through to the chicane at turns 14 and 15 as well. And certainly Viking Fox and Russell Bolt are keeping up with each other well, and they're hoping to close the gap towards Lynx. It doesn't seem to be working at the moment. Lynx Peace seems to have their number. I will go back up the field towards Merc, who it's turns 1 and 2 again. Drops in behind Mr. Poem. Just 2 tenths back this time, so he's not going to be going for moves. These two still losing time to the bird, as you'd expect. But look at the gaps Deck. Deck is absolutely flying. 1.4 seconds now to the bird. I mean, that is very impressive pace here from Deck. And okay, the gap has opened up by a couple of tenths, but still, that is really strong from the Haas here. Looking good to get back in DRS range of the bird, which, no disrespect, but at the start of the season in particular, probably most of the way up until Christmas, probably until, say, like round 8 or something, if you said somebody was going to get in DRS range of the bird after the bird pulled off an undercut, you would be thinking they're crazy. And all of a sudden, we are seeing Deck closing the gap on the bird. I mean, that is absolutely brilliant from him. Very few drivers have been capable of doing that, and he has been able to put it off. Merc ahead of Mr. Poem once again, so that is continuing to occur. But as we drop back, the gap between the bird and Deck, 1.4 seconds. So again, that continues to be impressive. Viking Fox to Russell Bolt also stands at about half a second as well. So Russell Bolt just staying in the DRS of the Mercedes here. As we go back up the field. Deck with another 3 seconds. That's 13 in total now. So even if Deck were to pit and serve at 10 seconds, he is not on for a net race lead, unfortunately for him. And it looks like who's on for the net race lead? Well, it certainly will be the bird, as Woody receives a 10-second penalty, and Woody retires from the Grand Prix. Down to 10 drivers then, 35 laps and 63 completed. But yeah, Woody, Frenchie, Hazer, Basil and Havoc Connor all opting to retire from the Grand Prix. You do get points regardless of where you finish, but obviously when you're only reserving, which to be fair, most of them are only reserving. I think the only one who wasn't was Havoc Connor. But the other 4 drivers are all reserving, so yeah, it makes a little bit of sense as well, to be fair. It's up towards Mr. Poem we go, and Mr. Poem does take the lead once again, and dropping towards Deck now, who is within DRS range here. I mean, this is quite an effort by Declan. He does drop in behind at 3 tenths, but wow, has he closed that gap. Time penalty as well for Baker Gamer, but look how much closer Deck is here. It's forcing the bird to an inside line, and Deck is absolutely on a roll, and he's going for it. He is pushing for it. Here comes Declan in the Haas, round the outside. He'll fight for the move, get onto the curb. They're still running side by side, but he drops in behind, and the bird holds on to the position into turn 12. But now can Deck fight it up until the chicane at turns 14 and 15? Not quite, he hangs in behind. The bird trying to recover his battery as well during all of this. But he knows he's got a fight on his hands. Deck, who has all of those penalties, does not want to be hanging around here. He wants to go for overtakes. He needs to push on. The bird goes for an inside line again, avoiding a send there from Deck. But Deck with his 4-lap fresher tyres. Into the pits goes Mr. Poem. And now here comes Declan. He will go for the move. He will take the net race lead. And it is looking good though for Deck. But can the bird stick with him on this lap? He's going to be trying his best. And a little bit of a lock-up as well from Deck. And Deck with a slip! Deck with a slip! The bird goes into him! The bird has damage! The bird has got front wing damage! He goes down the inside! He pulls off an astonishing move! The bird is through on Deck, but with front wing damage! This will cost the bird gratefully here. And now, all of a sudden, the tides have changed! The bird versus Deck! Damage received! But the bird makes an insane move and takes it on Deck here. But Deck can fight this one back. should be able to get himself clear, but what does the bird do? Does the bird stay out? Does he consider a pit stop, knowing that Deck also has 10 seconds more of time penalties? It has all started to liven up here in this Grand Prix between the bird and Deck. And now look, Deck's got through. Deck has got through here on the bird. The bird allowing himself to get the DRS here. He's a lot slower out of turns 17 and 18, but now he will burn that battery all the way to turn 2. Merc is into the pit, and look at the bird fly. He absolutely flies and takes the race lead once again with his wing damage. He's able to hold it, and now Deck has a job to do. Deck needs to somehow pull the 1 second clear of the bird, because the bird is fighting every move as hard as he can despite the damage, and fair play to him, he's done it well this past lap. But what can Deck do with the bird's front wing damage? We love the bird, says Josh. I mean, yeah, it's a great battle so far between a pair of them. It almost seems like ever since the bird got that damage from Deck's mistake, of course, that all of a sudden he's just like, right, I am going hell for leather, and that is exactly what he has done here in this Grand Prix. Some epic battling between a pairing, and we expect it to continue again through the back end of this lap, heading on to lap 39. But Deck seems to be sort of just lingering behind, maybe just saying, right, you know what, I'm getting DRS this time, and I'm going to be ahead into turn 2. Yes, again, turn 2, not turn 1. So here we go, and as you can see, he's gaining a lot more time through the corners, as you'd expect, due to the fact that Deck does have an entire front wing still. And now he will go for the move. The bird defends the inside line. He really tries to defend it, and he will be going side by side into turn 2. But Declan has the race lead, and he does get the move done. This could cause a problem for the bird, who drops down a P2. What can the bird do? He may go for a little move. Down the inside, he looks for it. Not quite able to. Declan holds on to it. Poem fast lap a 17.4, just a bit quicker than what we saw the bird do earlier in the Grand Prix. The bird half a second back. He has got mountains to climb here if he wants to remain within 1 second due to that damage. 6 tenths, up to 7, up to 8 tenths, and it's going to make it 9. It does make it 9. It's going to be a second. It is 1 second. The bird cannot hold on, but Deck gets another 3 seconds. It's 16 in total, and all of a sudden, it's opened the door up for the bird. It's opened the door up for Link's Pace to win this race. There's still 25 laps to go. The Link's Pace may very well be the favourite to win. Having no penalties, he is in an incredible position now. The bird surely has to pit. He does pit. That front wing damage is too much for him. He's going to be going for mediums to the end now. But Declan has 16 seconds of time penalties. And does he think about stopping himself to maybe go softs or mediums to the end? Oh, the bird's gone for softs. That is a strategy. The bird has opted for the soft compound of tyre. The championship leader, don't forget. Is that the right tyre to be on, or should he have gone for the mediums here? Softs for the bird. For 24 laps in this race. I mean, that is going to be an effort. I mean, the bird, if he's going to come back and win this race, what a win it would be. I think it would very well be his best race in UFRL if he wins from this position due to that damage that he got. 24 laps, and it is a massive 24 laps for the bird. But yeah, it's certainly opened the door up for this man here, Link's Peace, who is now behind Viking Fox. He will be getting DRS as well. Rusted Bolt is also in the picture in 4th place. Does have 12 seconds of penalties, sadly, Rusted Bolt, who is currently 2nd in a championship. But he is going to want to push on with Link's Peace here. Link's Peace surely will get the move done on Viking. Here we go. Down the inside he'll go. And I think he will just about get it done, will he? Yes, he does. As Rusted Bolt locking up a little bit. Almost going into Viking, narrowly avoiding contact there. And Link's Piece now up into P2. Willie Fernandez is up to 18 seconds of time penalties in P10. As we can see here, Rusty Bolt still behind Viking Fox. A bit of contact between the pairing. Has to be a bit careful there. Obviously nothing too major occurred, but there was a tiny little bit of contact that could easily have derailed and destabilised the Mercedes, but nothing occurring on that occasion there. So Lynx, Viking and Rusty Bolt, 2, 3 and 4, but Link's Piece right now would go on to win the Imola Grand Prix here in the 100% tier due to the fact he has no time penalties. And look how much time Bolt has lost. Bolt has lost a second. And Lynx and Viking are away from the Williams. And this could give a massive chance, particularly to Lynx, you feel. And now Rusty Bolt is going to have to do some work. How are the Alpines doing though? They've gone for the medium tyres. Medium to the end. Rusty Bolt into the pits, by the way. 21 laps on hards, and he's decided that is enough. Is it a two-stop strategy at play here tonight, or is it a one-stop? Well, Bolt's obviously decided it's not a one-stop, it's a two-stop for him, and he's going for the fresh medium tyres. And he will come out behind the Bird, who is on softs, don't forget. And indeed he does. The Bird sets the fast lap of the Grand Prix as well, and up into P7 on those softs. So yeah, a lot to do for the Bird, but never rule him out, especially when he's flying. Back on board here with Link's Piece on a charge through and cause a battle with Viking Fox, of course. And Merc with another 3 seconds, unfortunately for him. So sadly, what's the tally for him now? And it is 15 seconds of time penalties for Merc. So he is just behind Willie Fernandez and Deck when it comes to having the highest penalty count here. So yeah, again, a lot of penalties are flying about, but we have seen some excellent racing, particularly the one we just saw, the duel between Deck and Le Bird. Le Bird received front wing damage after Deck sort of made a mistake where he almost half spun it, and therefore it allowed for those two to have an epic battle for 2 or 3 laps, and it was absolutely brilliant. 17-0, another fast lap for the Bird. He is certainly flying at the moment, and the gap to Destroyer Jack is closing at 4.3 seconds, but we're just sticking with Link's Piece. And the gap towards Deck is opening up now, and he may very well pull the 16 seconds come the end of the race here. So the favourite to win right now is perhaps still Declan. I think he may have just taken that favourite tag away from Link's Piece. I mean, not by a long way, but Link's Piece seems to be dropping a bit of time every lap here to Deck. Now it's over 10 seconds. Again, he will get a DRS, so it may drop it to under 10 seconds. But Link's Piece is losing time every lap to Deck. And Deck, as things stands, is on. But he's got 19 seconds of penalties. Ignore what I'm saying. 19 seconds of penalties now for Deck. And now, all of a sudden, is Link's back to being a favourite. I mean, the favourite tag is changing left, right and centre. Deck at 19 seconds of penalties. I mean, I know 10 of those was for speeding into the pits. But no driver bar Link's Piece have been thinking, oh, maybe try and limit the penalty count. As the Bird continues, meanwhile, to close that gap towards Destroyer Jack, and it is less than 3 seconds. But how long can he keep those soft tyres in the game for? Can he do it for the final 20 laps? And that's what he's got to try and do here. So back with Link's Piece in the broadcast view through at turns 14 and 15. Still on for a healthy position, certainly Lynx, and still Viking Fox as well is also on for a 3rd place. But can he hold on to a podium? That penalty just came in for Bakey Gaming. He is now on 18 seconds, equal to Willie Fernandez. But of course, Deck on 19 seconds is the most. But the most we've had in the whole race so far has been 22 seconds, and that was by Havoc Connor. 22 seconds after 22 laps for him. But obviously retired after getting that 20 seconds of penalties. As Epic Frenchie leaves the session, but of course he is already retired, so no biggie there. The Bird almost a second behind Destroyer Jack as well, 1.2 the gap. Right, now let's see then. Link's piece into turns 14 and 15, just sticking behind Viking Fox. A move being made further back. Baker Gaming into the pits, behind Woody Fernandez as well. We'll go back up towards Link's. The Bird, 1.1 second now behind Destroyer Jack, and now he has made his way to within 1 second. So the Bird is looking good to take the Aston Martin and get up into the top 6 here. And here comes Lynx. Round the outside he'll go. Viking tries to defend it. He cannot do so. And Lynx piece up into P2 as Mr. Poem receives another 3 seconds. That is 6 seconds in total for the Alpine. I genuinely wonder what Deck's thinking right now. I mean, with the 19 seconds of penalties, is he going to be thinking, right, I'm in a great position to win? Or is he thinking, I have no idea if I can win this or not? I mean, he's certainly in a good position, but Link's piece, I don't know, what is it, 18 laps now to go, 11.5 the gap. The gap does seem to be increasing every lap, but it's not a long way. It's not like he's losing a second every lap, it's just a few tenths at the moment. And those few tenths may end up costing him at the end of the race, but it's not going to be a massive gap between himself and Deck. It's still going to be relatively close at this stage. The only good thing for Deck right now is if there were a safety car, which he does not want, he would be able to serve a 10 seconds, and I do believe he would come out in P1 as well. That's if, of course, everybody pits, which you would expect, especially when it's just 10 drivers on track. As Ruster Bolt also with another 3-second penalty. But there you go, Viking Fox then does make his way down the inside of Link's piece and back into P2. The Bird did get through on track and up into the top 6. Well, 16.5, another fast snap, and he does seem to be dominating. Alright, Viva, I am not going to try and pronounce what you were saying there, but hello, hope you're doing well. Oh, raging I couldn't race tonight. Now I know what you're trying to say. Yeah, shame you couldn't race, mate, that's for sure. I'm not going to try and read what you were saying before that, though, because I have absolutely no idea. Right, Link's P said, still settling behind Viking. They've definitely been around each other for a fair bit in this race. Ruster Bolt was also hanging around them too. But opted, obviously, to make the extra pit stop. And we'll see if the 2-stop strategy for Ruster Bolt was the best decision or not. Just sticking here with Viking Fox and with Link's piece. 0.4 of a second, half a second now. So it does seem to be opening up between the pairing. But now Link's piece for DRS. You should expect him to get a move here. The Ferrari's just there as well. Hopefully Ferrari just settles and stays behind here. I think that's Baker Gaming. Well, it is, because it can't be Epic Frenchie. So it is Baker Gaming. But Link's piece on that occasion, not overtaking Viking Fox. The gap is 13 seconds now, with the 19 seconds of penalties for the leader. Yeah, I mean, I think realistically Deck is going to go on to win this if they continue with the current timings. Unless the Bird can get back in. He's not that far away, the Bird, you know. He really isn't. Deck with another 3 seconds. That's 22 seconds now for Deck. 22 seconds of penalties for Declan. I mean, I don't know if the Bird knows this. But the Bird knows that Deck's got 22 seconds of penalties, then he is going to be absolutely loving it. And Lynx is probably looking, thinking, how are you getting 22 seconds of penalties in this race? And now, all of a sudden, it has changed back, and Lynx could very well be the new favourite again. With that 22 seconds of penalties. You've got to restrict those penalties, Declan. You just have to. The more you're going to get, the less likely you're going to win this race. Because if he kept it at, say, 15 seconds, he would almost be at that 15 seconds right now ahead of Viking and Lynx. I mean, 22 seconds, and the more you're going to get, the more difficult it's going to make it for you. Baker Gaming up to 21 seconds, and that's not even the most. But yeah, Steck has now drawn level with Havoc Connor's 22 seconds of penalties from earlier in the Grand Prix. It's back on board with Lynx Piece, who is right now going to win the Grand Prix due to the penalty counts. He is staying nice and close to Viking Fox. Well, the Bird, meanwhile, within 6/10 of Mr. Poem, and could be set to make his way up into the top 5. We may have to look at the gap to the leader here. The Bird is 27, so let's say the Bird is 30 seconds. Take off the 8 seconds, or 22 seconds rather. He is 8 seconds away at the moment. Barely, not even that. So the Bird could genuinely be on for a win here. Wow. I mean, the Bird, even though he had to pit and change his wing, can still win this race. But again, he needs an absolutely rapid last 14 laps of this Grand Prix. The Bird now does make his way through on Mr. Poem, and up into the top 5 he goes. And that means Declan, that means Lynx Piece and Viking Fox will all see the Bird on their screen in the top, in the left side at the top for their timings. So does that make them a little bit more worried? I imagine it will make Declan a lot more worried. I'm not sure how much more worried Lynx will be. Lynx does have a strong 12 seconds plus the 3, so you're effectively saying 15 seconds gap on the Bird here. So he has 15 seconds in hand. Deck only has, 29 seconds? We'll go 28 seconds now. It's 28.8. So 29 seconds, and then take off for 22. So it's only 7 seconds in hand that Declan has right now over the Bird. And the Bird looks quick, but Mr. Poem has stuck with him on this lap. And he really has, and it could allow for him to get through. A 22 sec, Jesus, yeah, absolutely crazy. Lynx Piece gets through, and Viking Fox back up to P2 now, but here comes Mr. Poem. He does choose to overtake the Bird, and up into P5, the Bird drops to P6 now. So the Bird will lose time dropping behind the Alpine here. And this, again, will help probably Lynx Piece the most. Lynx Piece 14.6 seconds behind, but will still win the Grand Prix here. The Bird goes for a tighter line, but has a couple of snaps on the exit of turn 7 as well now, as he heads up to turns 8 and into turn 9 at the left-hander. Certainly takes a lot more curb on the inside as well, and now we'll head up to turn 12. So you can get a lot more traction and close the gap towards Mr. Poem very quickly. And now we head towards turns 14 and 15. Declan, 15.1 seconds to Lynx Piece. So, again, Lynx has 7 seconds in hand of Deck, so it's all about that 7 seconds at the moment. But the Bird seems to be losing time now, behind or battling with Mr. Poem. No, they're not dirty drivers, that's for sure. They're just, it's just the track limits, that's all. It's all track limits, that's all they're getting the penalties for. I don't even think there's been a collision. I mean, if there was a collision, it may have been lap 1. I know Hazer had to pit. But all the pit stop, all the DNFs were in the pits. We've not had a safety car, not had a virtual safety car, not had a red flag, damaged on standard, safety cars on standard, red flags on standard, so we've had none on that. Merck with a 3 seconds, so that's up to 18 seconds in total. But yeah, to be honest, we don't get that many safety cars or anything now, which is, yeah, interesting. Safety cars obviously depended on drivers getting damages or DNFs by themselves most of the time. But even then, now we don't really get many of them. Individual errors seem to be less likely now on this game. As you can see, Mr. Poem has really stuck well with the bird, but Link's Peace 6/10 behind Viking Fox. He's not overtaking on this lap, so Viking stays P2. Link's Peace 16 behind, 22 seconds for Dex. That is 6 seconds in hand of Declan now. So 6 seconds in 11 laps. I think Declan can certainly get that. But the question will be, does Declan stay at 22 seconds of penalties, or will he get another penalty? And can Link's Peace stay penalty free? That will be the other question. The Bird and Mr. Poem both looking competitive here. And they are both doing very well to be in the position that they are both in. Yeah, the thing with Imola as well, there are a lot of opportunities to go wide. I mean, one of them is right here. You've got a double, well, you've got the chicane, but it's a very tight right to left. And you've got the exit as well, out of turn 15. And we head through here to turns 17 and 18. Okay, track limit is less likely, but you could go a little bit wide of the mark there, and again on the exit here at turn 18. So you've got 2 opportunities there to go wide, which again is likely to be a track limits warning straight off the bat. Not going to get one at turn 1, or well, turn 2 technically, but you can get one at turn 2, because if you go a bit too much at turn 3 there, again, you're going to get a track limits warning. So yeah, there's a lot of chances in general to get track limit warnings here, and that is why the penalty count is so very high amongst most of the drivers, and also the average penalty count will be very high as well. Just a lot of places to go wide, sadly, and that's obviously not helping the drivers. But yeah, now, I know Tier 1 haven't done Imola this season. I know they won't be doing Tier 1 this season. I'm not sure if Tier 2 have. But Imola is not on many of the calendars. It's only on 1 or 2 of them. So yeah, Imola is very much restricted this season in terms of what calendars it is on. But let's see. Viking Fox, Link's Peace, Merck now involved in this as well. Then you got Mr. Poem ahead of the Bird. But I think the Bird's soft tyres are not quite working in favour of him anymore. I think Link's Peace is relatively happy to stay in the DRS here of Viking as well. Oh, bit of a snap there from Merck, luckily keeps it controlled. And the Bird does go through on Mr. Poem and up into 5th place now. So we'll go back up the field towards Lynx. But Deck, is he going to win this race here? Despite a 22-second penalty. I mean, if he does, fair play to him. But Link's Peace is perhaps just doing enough at the moment to at least make it close between himself and Deck when they both cross the line. And it will make the last 1 or 2 laps very frantic indeed. I'll tell you one thing, Link's Peace would be loving a safety car right now. If there's a safety car, Link's Peace knows he barely even needs to fight a driver to win this Grand Prix. That would be the perfect scenario for Lynx as a safety car. Obviously for us, that's the worst scenario just because that means the final lap won't be as amazing for the win because you'd expect Lynx to win based on no penalties. But at the moment, with about 7 laps to go, it will be close between Deck and Lynx. Oh, 25 seconds for Declan! There is no way he can win from here. Surely not. Those penalties are racking up here for Deck. And if he's not careful, he's going to lose P2 as well. But Link's Piece is looking more and more likely to win this Grand Prix. What on earth has Declan been up to today? I mean, to get all of those penalties. Anyway, Link's Piece here and Merc as well, very close to him. But yeah, Link's Piece looking very much settled into this race to get that victory. Whether or not he'll feel like, you know, I've not been the quickest. I know before the race he wasn't looking forward to it in the sense that it wasn't his best track. Yet, somehow, he's going to go on to win it. Again, 7 laps to go, or 6 laps to go, now as Deck starts the next lap. 6 laps to go. Is there a chance that Deck can still win this? As Merc has got 21 seconds now. It's almost like drivers are just saying, bar Link's the only one who seems to be like, yep, let's keep the penalties down. But the likes of a Bird and Jack have done relatively well at that as well, 3 seconds for them. And now Link's Piece back ahead of Viking Fox and up into P2. Oh, Merc is same again, and Viking Fox also got a little bit of a snap there. The Bird back through on Mr. Poem. Let's go back up towards this little battle. The trio of Lynx, Viking and Merc. And Merc here going for a much wider line, trying to swoop down the outside. Can't quite do it on Viking Fox here, and will have to stay in behind. But let's see if there's any fireworks in these final laps as the Ferrari there went off track. Baker Gaming is into the wall. There's a safety car! This is absolutely perfect for Link's Piece. There's a safety car. And Deck gets another 10 seconds and he's retired. It's game over and title over for Deck. And the race win is undoubtedly, surely, heading the way of Kick Sauber, but it won't be for the Bird. It will surely be for Link's Piece. And what a position he has found himself in. We were saying a late safety car will do the damages and will secure the win at the same time. And it has certainly done that. The safety car may have gifted the win to Link's Piece. Good evening to Flonso. I think I've said your name right. I hope you're doing well. But yes, Link's Piece is in the perfect position. He can't lose from here. He cannot lose the win from here. He doesn't even need to fight another driver. That's the best thing about it if you're Link's Piece. You don't need to fight anybody. The only one who you probably don't want to see close to you is the Bird. And you never know if he's going to try and get a penalty removed or not. You don't know. But that is a 6th driver retiring in the pits, unfortunately. But with the wing damage to Baker Gaming, obviously he'll repair that wing. But yeah, it's perfect for Link's Piece now. Interesting strategy. Viking Fox has opted for a fresh set of mediums. So Willie Fernandez onto softs. You expect Baker Gaming to join as well. And Baker Gaming, obviously with no front wing, he is going to repair that wing. And the question is, will the game let him catch up to the safety car? It may not let him. It's Nando Alonso, can't change the name for some of these. Okay. I hope you're doing good though, Nando. Baker Gaming though into the pits, repairing that front wing. And he will be going for a set of fresh soft tyres and changing that wing, of course. And back on up and running. So the only one to not go for softs is Viking Fox. So we're now going to go to the penalty count. And the gap to the leader, because a lot of things can change on these final few laps. The Bird and Destroyer Jack, 3 seconds of penalties for them. Jack at the moment may get a podium. I was having a lovely race, says Hazer. Yeah, I saw you struggle. I did see you struggle. 12 seconds of penalties as well. That's very unusual for you, but then again, we're looking at the penalty count, and the penalties are quite insane. 3 seconds for Bakey, that's 27 seconds in total for the Ferrari. But he will be getting points at least in P9. So the question is, when will the safety car be into the pits? It may happen on this lap here. I think the most likely scenario is, yeah, we will turn out telemetry off for the final laps as well. But yeah, Lynx is certainly in a good position to win. And again, if he doesn't win from here, he'll be kicking himself. He just needs to make sure he stays away from any incidents. If somebody sends it on you, let them send it on you. Just make sure you stay on the circuit. Don't get yourself a 3 seconds. Don't pick up an unnecessary post-race penalty. Keep it clean and you'll get your race win. Again, the only one who he's probably looking at thinking they could stop me winning is probably the Bird, who has 3 seconds of penalties here. So the safety car is going to stay out for 1 additional lap, which is even better for Lynx. The longer it stays out, the better for the Kicksauber driver. And the better for the Kicksaubers in general. It could be another 1 and 2 heading their way. And again, they're having a dominant season. But they may change next season when it is back to the equal cars setting in the 100% tier. So this is round 11 or 15 for people who don't know. And we will be back to the international tier tomorrow night. Obviously, we just had a 2-week break for Christmas and New Year as well. Just didn't feel quick at any moment. Looking forward to next season with equal cars. Yeah, it will be interesting to see how people can get on. Obviously, I think Pesci said already that he's looking forward to it as well. He wanted to do some races, but obviously hasn't been able to. The Kicksauber's not been available, sadly for him. But yeah, I think some people are certainly looking forward to the equal cars. And also, it won't just be all one championship, you know. It will be like this season where there has been 2 separate championships. It will be pretty much like that. So it gives chances to lower down drivers to get good results and you know, push for their own championship. Like Destroyer Jack is going to do. He's going to win the development championship, isn't he? Looking good for some more points. Right, safety car in this lap. Baker Gaming has caught the rear of it. And now we will be getting back up and running for the final 3 laps of racing. Here at Imola, surely Lynx will win. Surely. But we will wait and see. We'll wait until he goes. Just flickering with that throttle at the moment, knowing he can go at any moment. Does he go early? Does he take it to the line? I think he may play it safe here and go a little bit early. And he does. He does go early. No real surprise there, I've got to say. And that means Viking Fox is going to be in a bit of trouble if he wants to push up to him. Another penalty for Bakey. That's 30 seconds now. Half a minute for him. But Viking Fox, here we go. Under attack now from Merck. Merck has a look on the inside line. Cannot get through on Viking Fox. Stays in P3. The Bird down in P4. He is tracking down Merck. And now the Bird really does slip himself through. Can he get himself back onto the podium? Let's see what can happen. He also got Mr. Palmer. A bit of a gap back to Drac here, who has got Bolt directly behind him. Then he got Willie Fernandez. Then he got Baker Gaming, obviously, with those 30 seconds of penalties. But again, still picking up some very decent points in the Ferrari tonight. Also a shame that track limits aren't at the white line. Explains that amount of penalties. Yeah, fair enough. Mr. Permlo, 9 seconds of penalties now. We're going to go up the field to the leaders once again. We will be getting DRS, don't forget, so Viking Fox will have a chance to get through. And what about the Bird behind Merck. And they got Mr. Poem as well. So here we go, heading on to lap 62, the penultimate lap of the race, and the bird goes through, flies through, and is up at a P3, and Link's Peace does have the lead, Viking Fox behind him, and getting very close to the Kicksauber, but not making contact. And here comes the bird, he heads round the outside, and what a move, delicious! He eats up Viking, who picks up 3 seconds in the process, but the bird is up to P2 now, and all of a sudden it's race on. Merck battling, did we see a spot of rain there? I think, possibly did. But either way, Merck battling side by side with Viking Fox round the outside, and Merck is up at a P3. Viking Fox now under pressure from Mr. Poem, who is into P5, and it is raining on the final couple of laps at Imola. It's getting even more dramatic. It's incredible. Soft versus mediums for Viking. He is up against it in these conditions, which are going to get worse for the final lap of the Grand Prix. Nobody's pitting this lap because it is so late in the Grand Prix and so close to getting the drivers. But we have got one final lap and one final straight. Link's Peace leads. The bird will get DRS down at the turn 2. Can he cause any problems for his teammate? It doesn't look like it's close enough. 4 tenths, 3 tenths, 2 tenths, but he stays behind. It's Links from the bird. Merck in P3. Then it's Viking Fox. The penalties will change everything, don't forget that. But it's still looking great if you're Link's Peace. A little bit wide there in the background went Rusted Bolt meanwhile. And the bird here, we're going to stay with him for now. 2 tenths behind Link's Peace. Is he going to go for a last lap overtake here? Is he going to push for one move? He's going to stay in behind. He's not got many chances left if he wants to take the lead of the race, even though he won't win on track. He won't win after the penalty count, but he may still take some good results here. He's going to cross the chicane. They all go through on the chicane. 3 seconds for Russell Bolt, 18 in total now. We're on to the final couple of corners. It's a turn 17 and 18. But down the turn. The bird has a half spin. The bird with a half spin. Luckily, it won't impact him too much here. Merck will take the position, but Link's Peace wins the Imola Grand Prix. The bird will hold on to P2. Mr. Poem onto the podium, but he's lost out to Destroyer Jack, who takes P3. But Link's Peace wins at Imola. And that safety car helping secure his victory. An amazing race in the end there. And Declan will feel gutted that he could not deliver it. Too many penalties for Declan in the end. And that is why a deserved win, I think you have to say, for Link's Peace. And the two Kicksaubers are 1 and 2. But there you go. Frantic at the end, especially with the rain. And obviously you saw the bird make that sort of mistake. It didn't cost him anything, luckily. It would have cost him if he had fully spun the car, but it was only a half spin. And luckily he was able to get it back up and running and retain that second place. But either way, nobody can take the win away. And Link's Peace delivers superbly. Full race classification in the bird. Losing out to Link's Peace. The bird does take the fast lap, however. Destroyer Jack P3. Mr. Poem in 4th, reserving of course. Viking Fox in 5th. Rusted Bolt P6 from Merck in P7. Woody Fernandez takes home 8th. Baker Gaming 9th. And then retiring from the race are Deck, Woody, Epic Frenchie, Hazer, Basil, and Havoc Connor. So once again, though, Link's Peace does secure the victory. Right then, with that in mind, let's have a look then what is going to occur for the final races of the season, shall we say, for the 100%. But let's have a look towards the whole tier in general. So we've got the international tier running tomorrow night, back after the 2-week break. Let's get the race calendars up, of course. So the international tier tomorrow night, and it will be at Abu Dhabi, 9 o'clock PM for that one. Back in Tier 1 for Monday night, and that'll be held round 12 Australia. Tier 2, and I'll be back on commentary duty for round 12 Mexico. That's on Tuesday night. Tier 3, Wednesday, round 12 is held at the Circuit of the Americas, USA. And then we'll be back next Friday for the 100% tier. Round 12, it will be held at Austria. So there you go. That is your upcoming week in UFRL. But again, we're back tomorrow, 9 o'clock PM at Abu Dhabi. So 1 hour later than when we started tonight. But yeah, good stuff overall. A great ending as well in terms of, well, if you're Link's piece, you'll be delighted with the ending. If you're Declan, you won't be so happy. But either way, with that race in mind, I would like to say thank you for everybody for watching in, whether it's across Twitch or TikTok. Hope you've all enjoyed. Of course, again, apologies for the opening 10 laps. Had an internet issue, shall we say. Completely disconnected in the house, but either way, it did get back up and running soon enough. Fortunately, didn't miss the whole race. Only missed the opening 10 laps or so, luckily. But either way, we will be back. Yeah, only one safety car. There, yeah. And also, well done on getting a podium, Jack. Hope you enjoyed that. Cheers for the commentary. Yeah, you're welcome, Warner. You're very welcome. But yes, anyways, for the rest of the week, I did update you just then, but we'll be back tomorrow, 9 o'clock PM for Abu Dhabi. I'll be back on commentary personally on Tuesday for Tier 2, and then obviously back for the 100% tier next week, next Friday. But yeah, for tonight, we have been UFRL. I have been UFRL F1 Viva. Thank you for watching, and good night.